Hey everybody, Prepper for the Ages coming at you from my secret location. How are you doing today? I wanted to talk to you today about how my friends prepared for Hurricane Ian. Are they preppers? No. Did they prepare? Yes. Did they score high marks in coming through it alive and well? And yes, they scored as high a marks as possible. My friends live on Pine Island in Florida, and recently their house was just about ground zero for Hurricane Ian coming ashore. So their trek in preparing came years and years ago because they wanted to retire in Florida, but they didn't want a trailer and they didn't want a side-by-side. They wanted to build their own house. So what they did was they squirreled a bunch of money together and they built the house, and they built it to hurricane standards. And what they did, they live on a canal that feeds out into the Gulf of Mexico. On a canal, feeds out into Gulf of Mexico on an island. Okay, so that's the background. The first thing they did was they had the guy, I don't know if it's a guy or not, though they had the contracting company raise the level of the lot. So they trucked in dirt and load after dirt and load and load of dirt. So that's what the first thing they did. And the second thing was they built the house with concrete blocks. Basically, they did not build like we do here in New England with wood. It was concrete. Basically, it's on a slab level, very high up off of the canal. And then they hurricane-proofed the house, which that was the third thing they did right. I did a whole bunch of things right. As a housewarming present, well, they wanted me to retire with them to Florida, do the same thing, buy land, build a house near them so that we could be in the same community, which is wonderful, but I have a few years to go with before retirement. So what they did next was, what I did next was something that helped them eventually. For their housewarming gift, I bought them a water bob. Strange housewarming gift, right? No, not in retrospect. So I said, squirrel it away. I don't care where you put it. Have the water bob, and I explained to them what it is. So if you don't know what it is, I don't get money for endorsing this, but water bob is it's basically a water bladder, and you stick it in the tub. It's a tub-shaped water bladder, so it's you fill it from the spigot, and you can fill up your tub, and instead of having a whole open tub of water, it's basically it's just like a bladder. You fill it up and you cap it, and you have water, and it doesn't. Sorry, I just looking for my other dog. What happens is it's a container of fresh water. So that's what they had available to them. And so years went by, and they decorated their house, they decorated all the stuff, and they made a home there. And then so many years later, a few weeks ago now, Hurricane Ian came a-roaring, and they decided that they were going to stay. And I freaked out. I said, okay, so you have the water bob. I reminded them they had the water bob. Oh, we have the water bob. We'll fill it up in the tub. So they were going to stay. So they filled the water bob up. I think it's 100 gallons. Contains 100 gallons. They filled it up like halfway, so 50 gallons, just in case they needed to hop into the tub. I said, please leave, please leave, please leave. Come back, please leave now so you can come back later. And they were going to stay. They were going to stay. And the morning of the hurricane, the water went away. Now, I don't know if they looked and decided before I texted, good luck, and if I really wish you would leave, but if you're going to stay, good luck anyways. So that's what I did, was I said that, and they luckily they texted me that they decided to go. So I was so happy. They took the car and they left. They went across the land bridge of Mount Lachey, and they headed out to a relative's house. And I liked that, and I liked that because, one, it saved me from a stroke watching them plan to stay. And the second thing is, it'll basically a lot of people's cars just got flooded and were useless after that. So I was happy that they were safe. They took their dogs, they left. And needless to say, the hurricane came, but when it came over, it came up really high. The water came up. The surge was supposed to be anywhere from 12 to 18 feet. And if you've been down there, basically the land is so low, it's unbelievable. So I am very glad, and I'm sure they're very glad, that when the water came in, their house had been built upon basically a very high section. It's basically one of the highest. It's basically one of the highest sections in that area of Pine Island. So they were good. What happened was, of course, the land bridge got washed away. It's terrible. People died. It was awful. But the water came up into their garage and blew away, really. It flooded, it ruined their washer and dryer and a lawnmower, and that's it. It also, if it came up into the garage, yes, it came up over their pool, and yeah, they had a pool, but it came up over their pool, so the pool got flooded, and they had to deal with the pool. They had to deal with cleanup. My friend's huge plant pots, just very heavy plant pots, just went in the drink, and a very nice person who was swimming by in full scuba gear managed to fish out her pots out of the canal. But yeah, so the only things they went back, as you can tell, they went back as soon as the land bridge was made again. They went back to assess the damage. They had they got a generator with them. It was a gas generator. It wasn't a solar generator, but it was a gas generator, so they were good. And they had the water bob. And as I had reminded them, yes, when everybody's else is looking for water, you can cross that off the list. That'll just buy you time, because everybody has to drive around looking for water. And so they drove back, and that's the puppy behind me. They drove back, and they didn't have to worry about looking for water. All they could dedicate their time to cleanup and power sources and power generation, and they cleaning out the refrigerator, because everything in the refrigerator was gone. But otherwise, they were good. So I think they won the hurricane thing, because that was borderline Cat 5. Watching for the puppy. Borderline Cat 5. And borderline Cat 5, surviving a hurricane, still having a house, is wonderful. There are, you can look it up on YouTube. There are a lot of YouTube pictures that people were, they had RVs, they were gone, they're flipped, everything was flooded, cars were flooded, boats were smashed up. You've seen, look it up on YouTube. So my friends were very, very fortunate to have, they still had damage. They have a year's worth of damage to clean up, and you have to clean stuff and see what you're going to keep and throw away. And if you got into the garage, I'm thinking that there was some, the sheet rock on the garage had to be, basically all that stuff. But all in all, they still have a house, and they have a house because they planned, because they prepped, because they had ideas that there might be a hurricane one day, and they wanted to keep their house. Dog. Puppy. But anyways, see, he's the reason I have not slept. Anyways, I gotta go. So that's the hurricane story. People who did not prep, people who were not preppers who prepped to handle a bad situation. Okay, that's my story. I have to rescue my slider. Okay, take care. Bye.